Welcome to Dusk Haven Sleep Stories, a quiet place where the day gently fades and soft stories carry you into rest.
Tonight, the world outside can wait a little longer. The noise of the day has faded. The evening has grown quiet. And now, there is nothing you need to do except rest. So settle comfortably beneath your blankets. Let your breathing become slow and gentle, and allow this story to carry you softly into the night. Tonight, we will follow the footsteps of a weary traveler to a quiet little cottage beside a flowing river, hidden among endless golden fields beneath the shadow of distant mountains. A place where candlelight glows warmly through old windows, where kindness still lives in simple hearts, and where even the most tired soul may finally find peace. And so, our story begins.
There was once a traveler, a quiet wanderer who had walked farther than most men ever dared. His boots were worn, his cloak softened by years of wind and rain, and his eyes carried the kind of stillness that only long journeys could bring. On one golden evening, as the sun drifted slowly toward the horizon, he found himself standing at the edge of a vast wheat field. The wheat swayed gently in the breeze, like waves in a quiet ocean, glowing softly beneath the fading light. Beyond the field, he could see a narrow river winding its way through the land, its surface shimmering like glass. And further still, mountains rose in the distance, calm, ancient, and unmoving. The traveler paused. For the first time in many days, he felt something unfamiliar. A sense of peace.
He followed a narrow path through the wheat, his steps slow and unhurried now. The sound of the river grew closer, soft and constant, like a lullaby whispered by the earth itself. As he reached the riverbank, he noticed something nestled beside it. A small cottage. It stood quietly beneath a tall oak tree, its wooden walls warm in color, its windows glowing with gentle candlelight. Thin smoke curled upward from the chimney, carried lazily into the evening sky. The traveler hesitated. He was not a man who often asked for help. But the fading light, the weight of his journey, and the quiet invitation of that glowing window were enough to guide him forward.
He approached the cottage slowly, his footsteps soft against the earth. As he reached the door, he raised his hand and knocked. Once, then gently again. For a moment, there was only silence. Then the door opened. Standing before him was a man, perhaps in his middle years, with kind eyes and a calm, steady presence. There was no suspicion in his gaze, only warmth. "Good evening," the man said softly. The traveler bowed his head slightly. "Good evening. I seek only a place to rest for the night." The man studied him for a brief moment, not with doubt,
but with quiet understanding. Then he smiled. "You are welcome here." Those simple words were enough to ease something deep within the traveler's chest. He stepped inside. The cottage was warm, lit by candlelight and the soft glow of a small hearth. The scent of fresh bread filled the air, rich and comforting. And near the fire sat a woman with gentle eyes, her hands busy with a simple meal. She looked up as the traveler entered, and her expression softened instantly. "A guest?" she asked quietly. Her husband nodded. "He has come a long way." Without hesitation, the woman rose to her feet. Then he must be tired. She moved gracefully across the room, setting another place at the table. "You are welcome here," she said, her voice calm and kind. And then, from behind a wooden chair, two small faces appeared. Children, a boy and a girl, no older than 7 or 8. They watched the traveler with wide, curious eyes. The boy stepped forward first, brave but gentle. "Did you come from the mountains?" he asked. The traveler smiled faintly. "I passed them, yes." The girl moved closer, holding a small piece of cloth in her hands. "Do you have stories?" she asked softly. The traveler paused. For a long time, his stories had been his alone. But in that moment, surrounded by warmth and quiet kindness, he felt something shift. "Yes," he said, "I have a few." The children's faces lit up, their eyes shining like stars. And the room, already warm, seemed to grow even softer. Later, as the fire softened into glowing embers, the traveler sat with the children near the hearth. And for the first time in many years, he told a story. Not of battles nor hardship, but of a quiet forest, where the wind spoke gently through the trees. The children listened closely, their eyes growing heavy, and slowly, one by one, they drifted to sleep. The woman carried them gently to their beds. The man added one last piece of wood to the fire, and the cottage grew still. "You may rest here tonight," the man said, gesturing to a small bed near the window. The traveler nodded. "Thank you." As he lay down, he could hear the river outside, its steady flow, soft and endless. The wheat fields whispered in the wind, and the mountains stood quietly in the distance, watching over everything. For the first time in a very long while, the traveler closed his eyes, not with caution, but with peace. And as sleep gently found him, he realized something simple, yet deeply true, that sometimes the greatest journeys are not about distance, but about finding a place, even for a moment, where the heart can finally rest. The traveler woke slowly, not to the sound of noise or hurried footsteps, but to bird song drifting gently through the cottage window. Soft morning light spilled across the wooden floor, painting the room in warm shades of gold. For a moment, he did not move. He simply listened. The quiet crackling of the hearth, the distant murmur of the river, the faint laughter of children somewhere outside. It had been many years since he had awakened in a place that felt so calm. He sat up slowly, the wool blanket slipping gently from his shoulders. The scent of fresh bread once again filled the cottage, and from the kitchen, he could hear the soft humming of the woman as she prepared the morning meal. There was something comforting about ordinary sounds, something deeply human. The traveler realized then that peace was rarely found in grand places. More often, it lived quietly, in simple moments. He dressed and stepped outside into the cool morning air. The world beyond the cottage seemed almost untouched by worry. The wheat fields shimmered beneath the early sunlight, their golden tops dancing softly in the breeze. The river flowed peacefully nearby, clear enough to reflect the pale blue sky above. And beyond it all, the mountains stood silent and patient, as though they had watched over this valley for centuries. Near the riverbank, the two children were already awake. The little boy crouched near the water, carefully attempting to float tiny sticks downstream like miniature boats. The little girl sat beside him, holding a basket of wildflowers gathered from the field. When they noticed the traveler, their faces brightened immediately. "You stayed!" the boy exclaimed happily. The traveler smiled faintly. "For now," he replied.
The little girl approached him carefully. She held out a small white flower. "This one is for travelers," she said softly. The traveler accepted it gently, almost afraid his rough hands might crush its delicate petals. "And why is that?" he asked. The girl thought carefully before answering. "Because travelers look lonely sometimes." The traveler fell silent. Children, he thought, often understood truths that adults spent their entire lives trying to explain. He tucked the flower carefully into the fold of his cloak. "Then I shall keep it," he said. The little girl smiled proudly. The father soon emerged from the cottage carrying a wooden bucket. "Would you care to join me?" he asked. The traveler nodded. Together they walked through the fields toward a small stable beyond the hill. For a while they spoke very little, but the silence between them never felt uncomfortable. It was the kind of silence shared only between people who understood that not every moment needed words. At last, the father glanced toward the traveler. "You have walked for a long time," he said quietly. "Yes. Are you searching for something?" The traveler looked out toward the mountains, and for a moment, he truly did not know how to answer. Years ago, he would have said he was searching for purpose, or fortune, or perhaps escape. But now, after so many roads and so many winters, he was no longer certain. "I think," he said slowly, "perhaps I have only been running from stillness." The father nodded thoughtfully. "Many people do." They continued walking. The wheat swayed around them in gentle waves. "Stillness can be difficult," the father continued, "but it allows a man to hear himself clearly." The traveler carried those words quietly within him. For much of his life, he had believed movement was strength. To keep walking, to keep searching, to never remain in one place long enough for sorrow to find him. But perhaps peace required something different. Perhaps peace required staying still enough to let the heart rest.
When they returned to the cottage, the woman had prepared breakfast upon the wooden table. Fresh bread, warm butter, honey in a small glass jar, and steaming tea poured carefully into worn ceramic cups. The children climbed eagerly into their chairs, their sleepy energy filling the room with warmth. The little boy spoke endlessly about the fish he claimed to have seen in the river. The little girl insisted the clouds looked like sleeping sheep drifting across the sky. And the traveler, without even realizing it, found himself laughing softly beside them. The woman noticed. She exchanged a quiet glance with her husband. Not a word was spoken, yet both of them understood. This weary stranger who had arrived carrying silence like a heavy burden was beginning, little by little, to feel alive again.
That afternoon, rain clouds gathered gently above the valley. Not fierce clouds, only soft gray ones, heavy with quiet rain. The children rushed to the windows excitedly as the first droplets began to fall. Soon, the sound of rain filled the cottage roof with a soothing rhythm. Steady, soft, peaceful. The traveler sat near the hearth while the fire crackled warmly before him. The little girl rested sleepily beside her mother. The boy sat upon the floor, carving shapes into a small piece of wood. And outside, the rain painted silver patterns across the river. "Tell us another story," the boy asked softly. The traveler looked into the fire for a moment. Then he nodded. And as rain whispered gently against the windows, he began another tale, not of kings or wars, but of a lonely lighthouse keeper who learned that even the smallest light could guide someone safely home. The children listened closely, their eyes glowing in the firelight. And while the traveler spoke, he slowly realized something beautiful. Stories, like kindness, were a kind of shelter. They reminded tired hearts that warmth still existed in the world. Outside, the rain continued falling softly across the endless wheat fields. The river flowed onward through the valley, and deep within the quiet cottage beneath the mountains, 4 gentle souls and 1 wandering traveler shared an evening that none of them would ever truly forget. Several peaceful days passed beside the river. Days filled with small moments, the kind that quietly settle into the heart forever. The traveler helped mend fences beneath the morning sun. He carried water from the river. He shared stories beside the hearth while rain whispered softly against the windows. And little by little, the cottage no longer felt unfamiliar. It began to feel like home. Each morning, the children waited eagerly for him outside. The little boy would race through the wheat fields carrying wooden swords made from fallen branches, declaring himself a brave knight protecting the valley. The little girl gathered wildflowers along the riverbank, carefully placing the prettiest ones inside small glass jars around the cottage. And always, they asked the traveler endless questions. Have you seen castles beyond the mountains? Are forests truly darker at night? Do stars look different in distant lands? The traveler answered each question patiently, his once weary voice now softened by warmth. At night, the family gathered around the fire together. The father carved wood quietly beside the hearth. The mother stitched small pieces of cloth by candlelight. The children rested sleepily beneath thick wool blankets. And the traveler told stories. Stories of quiet roads, ancient bridges, misty hills, and lonely lanterns glowing softly through the darkness. Yet, strangely, the stories no longer sounded lonely when he told them here, because now they were being shared. One evening, after the children had fallen asleep, the traveler stepped outside alone. The night air was cool and gentle. Moonlight shimmered across the flowing river, turning the water silver beneath the stars. The wheat field swayed softly in the darkness, moving like waves beneath the wind. And above the distant mountains, the sky stretched endlessly, peaceful, still, quiet. The father joined him after a while, standing beside him beneath the old oak tree. For a long moment, neither man spoke. Then the father said softly, "You will leave soon." It was not a question. The traveler lowered his eyes slightly. "Yes." The father nodded slowly. "There are some people," he said, "whose hearts belong to the road." The traveler gave a faint smile. "Perhaps." Then, after a moment, he added quietly, "But I think part of mine may remain here." The father rested a hand gently on his shoulder. "Then this place will always welcome you."
That night, the travelers slept lightly, aware that morning would arrive too soon. And when dawn finally came, the valley awakened beneath pale golden light. Mist drifted softly above the river. Birdsong echoed across the fields. And the cottage windows glowed warmly once more. The traveler packed his few belongings carefully. His worn cloak, his satchel, and tucked safely inside the small white flower the little girl had once given him. Though the petals had dried, he kept it gently protected between the pages of an old book. When he stepped outside, the family was already waiting for him. The mother handed him a small bundle of bread wrapped neatly in cloth. "For the road," she said warmly. The traveler bowed his head gratefully. "Thank you for everything." The little boy looked unusually quiet that morning. "Will you come back someday?" he asked softly. The traveler knelt beside him. "I believe so." The boy nodded bravely, though sadness still lingered in his eyes. Then the little girl stepped forward. In her small hands, she held a tiny lantern crafted from carved wood and thin glass. "My father helped me make it," she whispered. The traveler accepted it carefully. The lantern was simple, small enough to fit in his hand, but beautifully made. "So you won't feel lonely when you travel at night," she said. For a moment, the traveler could not speak. His throat tightened unexpectedly, because no gift he had ever received, not gold, not fine clothes, not anything from distant cities, had ever felt as precious as this small wooden lantern. At last he smiled gently. "I shall carry it wherever I go." And so, as the morning sun slowly climbed above the mountains, the traveler began walking once more. Down the narrow path beside the river, past the golden wheat fields, toward distant roads waiting beyond the valley. But this time, his steps felt different, lighter. Halfway down the path, he turned back one final time. The family stood together outside the cottage, their figures glowing softly beneath the morning light. The children waved excitedly. The mother smiled gently, and the father raised his hand quietly in farewell. The traveler lifted the small lantern slightly in return. Then he continued onward. The river flowed beside him, soft and endless. The mountains watched silently from afar. And tucked safely beneath his cloak, the little lantern rested close to his heart. For the traveler had learned something during his stay beside the river. That kindness, even the simplest kind, can change the course of a weary soul. And that sometimes the places we remember most deeply are not grand cities, nor mighty kingdoms, but small, quiet homes filled with warmth, gentle laughter, and people who choose to love without asking anything in return. Far behind him, the cottage remained beside the flowing river, hidden among golden fields beneath the mountains. And on quiet evenings, when candlelight glowed softly through its windows, the children would still speak of the traveler who once arrived as a stranger and left as family. Now, the valley grows quiet once more. The river continues its endless song. And somewhere far along the winding road, a traveler walks peacefully beneath the stars, carrying a small lantern through the night. And perhaps, before sleep finally finds you, you may imagine its warm little light, glowing softly in the darkness too.
Good night.